Alright YouTube, it's your boy Alan, back with another video. I'm in the Songshang district. It's currently strolling. It's around 6 p.m. and in today's video I wanted to talk about something near and dear to my heart and something a lot of travelers are dealing with is the debate of Airbnb versus hotel. So I've been on the road solo traveling the last 2 months. 2.5 months, and I've traveled months before that. I've traveled many months doing both, and have some free-flowing thoughts. I want to compare the two of my experiences of doing both. So first, let's start with hotels. So for hotels, they're really good because why I really enjoy them personally is there's really no bullshit. Usually you can check in at a hotel at 10 p.m. 1 a.m. usually, right, if it's a 24-hour concierge service, but somebody's gonna be there to check you in. You just go to the address and then they're like, oh hi Mr. Lee, can I get your passport? And then they check you in. It's pretty seamless. You just gotta get your ass to the address and things go pretty smoothly. Sometimes maybe they'll oversell a room or something and they might upgrade you, but usually that's pretty rare and things work out. And on the other hand, when I think about checking for Airbnb, it's usually like a escape room type of check-in at times. My last Airbnb I checked into in Taiwan, I got like a 6-step message, 8-step message. It was like, go to this street to get the key. Here's the code for the key. And then you're gonna walk down the street 100 meters and then turn right. And then you're gonna see this vending machine, it's pink, and then you're gonna walk in. And then it says, please ignore the security guard. They won't mind you. And then walk in. And then here's the code. It's your last 4 digits of your number, and you're gonna check in. I was like, okay, great. Like, I'm gonna have to do homework before I check into this Airbnb, and that's pretty annoying. And then imagine if you, and this was easy for me because I was just pulling up from Taiwan to a different place in Taiwan, so I'm not super tired from traveling. But imagine if you just get back from a 1 a.m. flight in wherever you're traveling to, and then they ask you to do all this bullshit of, this is the check-in process, and you have to follow all the instructions. That's probably the last thing you want to do. You're freaking exhausted. So that's why I like hotels, because you just pull up to the address and you check in. You don't have to do this whole escape room type thing and follow all these instructions, because sometimes you're just too tired to deal with that, and you don't want to deal with that. And then when I think about like staying in a hotel room, it's really nice that every day you have the option to have maid service, and they'll clean the bed for you, they'll give you new towels. And I really like that, because I like when I'm traveling and staying in a new place or location that I get a fresh set of towels. I can make a mess in the room, they're gonna clean it up, and I'm gonna get, my bed's gonna be made. It's just like so fresh and so clean. I really like that. Somebody clean it for me, because nobody does that for me at home usually. But at Airbnb, you only get that once. Usually, I think in Bali sometimes they would clean it for me, but most Airbnbs, you check in, and then that's how your room's gonna be. You're gonna have to clean up, you have to do the garbage, you're gonna have to do all of that. You gotta take the trash out, you gotta do the dishes. And that's also another reason why I really like hotels, is just because of that convenience factor of somebody cleaning your room. Like, I love that. Nobody does that at Airbnb. You know what? You gotta clean it, and you paying money to clean it too. And another thing I really do when I do think about hotels is, it's a small detail, but I remember in hotels, like, I could use a white towel and clean my shoes with it, and frankly, the hotel doesn't give a shit. They're like, okay, we got a new towel, he made this towel dirty, yada yada yada. I cleaned my shoes with one of the towels at Airbnb, and it was a whole ordeal. They're like, oh my god, we're gonna charge you for this dirty towel. It looks like why are there stains on this towel? It's because I cleaned my shoes with it. I was like, I'm sure you guys got plenty of white towels, but you know, I get it from a Airbnb's host perspective. Like, they just want to, like, they probably have just one set of towels or two set of towels, and then they just want to reuse them, right? But hotel probably has hundreds of thousands, so I get that perspective. But it's annoying that I have to be like, okay, I can't use this towel because they're going to charge me extra if it's dirty. And then when I also think about I think a hotel might be a little bit less comfortable if you are staying in a large group of, like, if you're staying 2 or more people, a hotel room is going to be pretty tough. Like 3-person hotels, 4 people in a hotel, that's when you have to get like 2 rooms and yada yada. So I think Airbnbs are really good for big group experiences, like, you know, 4+ people, 3+ people. It's a lot more comfortable. You can split the costs and get multiple rooms, right? It's a house. So I think that's where Airbnb really wins out, is just the group kind of traveling. Like, you want to do a group of 4+ at a festival or something. Like, it's fun to hang out in a house, like talk after the party, and not all be stuffed in a small hotel room usually, right? And then when I think about doing that in a hotel, it's usually a lot harder unless you get like a massive suite, and it'll be really expensive too, so it's a little bit less cost efficient on the hotel front. But it's not impossible to do, you can still do it. And then I also think about Airbnbs. I think that's definitely one of the biggest pros. It's gonna be cheaper, it's gonna be more comfortable. But then there's like that party aspect and the noise aspect you have to be conscious of for Airbnb. And yeah, and then I think what I also like about hotels is you have a pretty good sense of what you're gonna get as long as you read the reviews. But it's usually a more comfortable stay because, I mean, you could just follow certain brands on like Hilton or Holiday Inn. Like, you're gonna have some brand recognition there, and you can just look at if it's gonna be a 3-star hotel, 4-star hotel. There's like this universal awareness of how hotels are ranked. But when you do Airbnbs, you gotta be really specific and particular, because you gotta make sure you're reading the reviews. Sometimes on Airbnb, the location's not discovered until you book it. So you're like, should I book this Airbnb? But it might be in a bad location, it might be on a street. Like, you get the general vicinity on Airbnb, but you don't know the exact pin. So, you know, hotels, you can scope out the location a lot easier. There's universal awareness of what 2, 3, 4-star, 5-star hotels are going to be like, so there's a baseline of what you're going to expect to get. On Airbnbs, you got to, obviously you can read the reviews, you can do 8+ star reviews, but like my last Airbnb I did, the reviews were like, it was like a 4.8, 4.9, really good. And then I get to the spot, it's a lot older than I expected, which is not a big deal, but for me, I'm like really sensitive to noise, and it was right on the highway, and it was just so freaking loud. Like, you close the windows, like you still hear it. And then, mind you, this was like after I wasn't sleeping very well because I was staying in a hostel for 3 or 4 days, so I was like, I need to sleep. And then I got to the Airbnb, I was like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna be able to sleep. It's so loud on the highway. So I had to go through this whole process with the Airbnb host and negotiate with him. And he was really nice about it, but I was like, hey dude, like I'm not gonna be able to rest very well here. Can I get out of this and go to a different spot? He was super nice, but he ended up getting me a refund. But I actually lost money on that because I lost the money on the taxes. Like, he also lost money too. But and then that wasn't the first time that happened to me on Airbnb when I booked a spot. Like, maybe it's my fault that I didn't read the reviews more carefully or take certain things into consideration. Like, I booked this other Airbnb in Thailand, and then, you know, it's a really big spot, but then I realized, shit, it's right on the main road. And then this Airbnb was just so many mosquitoes in there. And then I had to go through Airbnb support. It was this whole ordeal to get my money back. Like, a lot of admin work, a lot of bullshit I didn't want to do. That hotel would definitely, I would have avoided that situation. And then there was another time I was in Germany. I booked an Airbnb. It's right on this main street. The walls weren't insulated. The photos did not look like the actual room I was in. The AC wasn't working. It was dirty. And then, you know, I booked this Airbnb. You know, And obviously maybe I should have been more diligent, but it was also right on the street. I don't do really good with noise. And it was another whole ordeal where I spent 2 hours on Airbnb support trying to get my cancellation and get my money back. And then my money finally came back like a week later. So I had to do all this admin bullshit because I chose the wrong Airbnb. At a hotel, like, it's never happened to me where I'm like, okay, I gotta get the fuck out of this hotel and get my money back and all this stuff. Like, there's less admin stuff, which I really enjoyed about hotels. And so I feel like I've had more worse experiences at Airbnbs where I go to the spot and then the spot's not what I was expecting, and then I have to pivot and find a new spot. And I usually just end up choosing a hotel or something because I know what to expect. Like, I can check in anytime. There's gonna be somebody to check me in. I don't have to do this whole instruction 6-step process to check in. I get fresh showers, I get maid service, and I know I'm gonna get. So as a solo traveler, I personally really do enjoy hotels more, I think. But dude, when you get like a really nice Airbnb and it hits, like, you're like, wow, this is an amazing Airbnb. This is way better than a hotel. It's just a lot more comfortable, and like sometimes the value is amazing. It's just sometimes a crapshoot if you're gonna get a good spot or not. But yeah, like, if I get a good Airbnb, I'm like so stoked on, like, it's just so nice, yada 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 yada. And then sometimes it's hard to get that nice Airbnb again because everybody knows this nice Airbnb and you can't book it again. You're like, shit, god damn it. So like, when an Airbnb hits, man, it's one of the best feelings in the world. But when it doesn't hit, it's such a big pain in the ass. So that uncertainty is kind of annoying with Airbnbs. And then with Airbnbs, like, I think it's really good if you're in a large group setting, and then the value gets really good once you add more people and you want a big house. It's really hard to get that, obviously, with a hotel. The hotel factor I really like just because it's so convenient. People clean it for you. You have a higher likelihood of not messing up. You know what 2, 3, 4-star ratings, 5-star ratings are. It's a universal sign. There's less detective work, I'd say, when it comes to hotels. And I personally like convenience, and I don't like the whole, like, when I book an Airbnb, I'm like messaging the host or asking what time you're gonna be arriving, where are you coming from. It's like 50 questions with some of these hosts, and then I don't know, they're like scoping me out and they're trying to line up timing for when I arrive, all this crap. But hotel, they're just like, okay, book, pay, email confirmation, pull up and check in, give us your passport, check in, done. I'm like, that's so easy. And sometimes it's a little bit less comfortable because it's smaller, but I really like convenience. The last thing I want to do on a travel day is go to my Airbnb, follow 10 steps of instructions to check in, and if the Airbnb is fucked or I don't know how to check in, I'm like stressed out and I have to find a new spot. It's like one of the last things you want to do when you're traveling. But when an Airbnb hits, like I said, it's one of the best experiences in the world. So yeah, I think, and the last point is with Airbnbs is you gotta do the garbage. Yeah, clean up, check out instructions. Like, I went to Airbnb in Taiwan, and then their host was there explaining to me for like 10 minutes. I'm like, this is how you separate the trash. Don't have your shoes in the room. And then this is how you're gonna dry your clothes. And then out here, and then put the trash here, and then all this crap. It was like, bro, just let me check in and leave me alone. I'm tired. Leave me alone, please. Please leave me alone. So, you know, some Airbnb hosts are less micromanaging, some are. It's just like more of a, it's so variable at times. Airbnb is just so variable. And when you're traveling, sometimes you don't want variability. Right? Like a hotel, they're not gonna ask me, hey, you gotta take the garbage out, dude. When you check out, we're gonna charge you a fee. Right? Like, that's great. I'm on vacation. I don't want to do any of this. So that's my stream of thought on hotel versus Airbnb. I think hotel is a lot more convenient. It's good for solo traveling or 2 people traveling or maybe 3 people traveling. Less bullshit, less variability. Hotel Airbnb, great for group travel. A lot of variability. I've been burned a few times, made mistakes, took a while to get my money back. And then I think Airbnb is great for group travel. So that's my video as a solo traveler that's been traveling Asia the last 2 months, and been traveling a lot more. I'm gonna keep going traveling, and that's my experience of doing hotel versus Airbnb. Thanks for tuning into this stream of thought video, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Peace.